Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Craig DeLuz, and I am with FPC, and I am at the Gun Rights Policy Conference 2022 in Dallas, Texas, and we're coming at you live from the event where we're hanging out with some of the movers and shakers in the 2A community, not the gun community. It was funny, with the last guest, I made it a point. There's the gun community, and then there's the 2A community. 2A community are the people who are taking the time, who are fighting for our right to keep and bear arms. And so these are people who are working on policy. Some of them are in the media, some of them are lobbyists, some of them are grassroots activists, but they're fighting for our right to keep and bear arms in different places all across the country. And coming to us from Michigan, the state where you will find the Motor City, although he's not from the Motor City, at least not that I know of. But his name is Jared Coyne, and he is with Michigan Open Carry. Jared, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Craig. Hello.
All right, so tell us real quick about Michigan Oregon Carry and what you do.
Okay, it started roughly about 15 years ago. Michigan is one of those states where if you read the statutory framework, you will find that there are less restrictions on the unconcealed carry of a pistol as opposed to concealed carry of a pistol. So we are a Second Amendment group. We support people's right to carry. Doesn't matter if they want to carry open, covered up, whatever is best for you. It's a personal choice. We are good with. So we've evolved over the past 15 years or so, and we do a lot of work with the state capitol. We've been involved in a couple of lawsuits. Two of the things that we're working on right now, which unfortunately they're not going to get past the governor. If you carry on an expired license, we are one of the worst states in the country. If your license, say, what's today, October 1st, let's say your license is expired today, at 12:01 a.m., you are treated as a felon, as if you've never had a license to carry, and it can ruin your life. And a lot of people have had their lives turned upside down. We've seen young kids who are going to go to medical school on a scholarship, and they thought they were transporting a pistol properly, and it's a felony.
So there's no grace period whatsoever?
Nope, it is black and white. Either you are or you are not. And you're probably going to laugh because how many times have you heard somebody say, just in this one case, and we have told state reps this, we wish we could be more like California, because even in California, it's a misdemeanor the first time you're caught, as long as you're not a gang member and the other qualifications that they have in statute. Mm-hmm. For us, it is a 5-year felony, and depending on the county that you're in, the district attorney will hit you with the 5-year felony, even if you don't go to prison. And that's the unfortunate thing about our system. If you have nothing to lose and you get a felony on your record, you're not going to care. But if you're a doctor, you have a business, you have a family, that can ruin your life. It can make things a lot harder. So one of the bills that we had, it's a mitigation bill. And there are different versions of it depending on what state reps were comfortable with. But one of them was if you had an expired license, we would treat it like you're driving with a broken taillight. It's a fix-it ticket. It's, hey, your license is up, provided that you're not otherwise prohibited by law from carrying. It's just, here's a fine. They can argue about how much the fine is going to be, and the idea of it is to get your license up to date again.
Okay, so is there a period of time? I mean, is this like once it expires in perpetuity you have this availability, or is there you have a certain amount of time before it then would turn around and become a felony?
One of the versions, we've had many different versions of this. One of them was you'd have a year. Another one was just if you would otherwise be qualified for a license but you don't have one, don't ruin the person's life. The idea is don't give them a scarlet letter that they have to carry around for the rest of their lives, right? And our group prides ourselves on, we do the research. We're never okay with hearing, well, some other state does fill in the blank, or back in the day, blah, blah, blah. We will do the research. We will go back. If we have to go back to 1887 and look at what the penal code said back then, we will do that.
Well, now under Bruin, you kind of got to do that.
Yes, but beware of the revisionist history that you're going to see. I'm sure that the opposition is going to say they dusted off a sheet of paper where Thomas Jefferson said nobody needs 11 rounds of ammo in a magazine, and it's a weapon of war. And that's not okay, right? So, but you are correct in that this is a playing field that we are comfortable on, that a lot of people in this community are comfortable on. So, when we did our research, even the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, not exactly a Second Amendment mecca, right? Even with them, if you have an expired license, it's a civil infraction. I don't remember the details of it, but it's not a crime. Even in Massachusetts, a state that has mandatory minimums for having a spent shell casing rolling around on the floor of your car if you're not licensed by Massachusetts to possess a firearm, right? So we've gotten a lot of pushback. Sometimes it's hard because a lot of state reps, and we unfortunately see this in the Republican Party, where they will listen at a point-blank range of what the police tell them, and they're going to run with it. But they're getting better at looking at it from the viewpoint, and I think some of them have changed their minds because of constituents that they've had where they see the havoc that something like this can do to someone's life, right?
Well, it's one of the challenges that we face when dealing with sometimes with people who are normally Second Amendment supporters, but they also have, Republicans in particular, they tend to be law and order Republicans, and so oftentimes, if a member of law enforcement, if in particular, if a senior member of law enforcement tells them something, they will tend to go with it. Well, it's about public safety, but at a certain point, you have to say, look, when does it? I'm all for public safety as long as it doesn't infringe on individual liberties. And unfortunately, you have some folks who don't get that or don't care about it.
Right, and we've made the point, right? I mean, it's a common mistake for people to drive on an expired driver's license, right? Could you imagine a world where your mother is, pulled out of a car, placed in cuffs for a felony because her driver's license, which expires in Michigan on your birthday, and you forgot to renew it? No, it just doesn't happen. Why is this treated any differently? So we've tried to do this. We've had numerous versions of this. Obviously, permitless carry would be our goal, but being that we currently can't get that, this is something that we're trying to push for. That's one of the two main things that we're working on currently.
How easy is it to get a permit in Michigan?
Well, it's easy if you meet the criteria. It's very straightforward. It's all or nothing. There's no discretion whatsoever. There's no wiggle room for the licensing authority. The way the system's currently set up now is the county clerk is the licensing person. So they're the point of application, and they're the point of you being issued the license. The state police do the background check. It's a fingerprint-based background check. Normally, from what I've been told, those fingerprints come back in about 1 second unless you have some type of record. Doesn't necessarily mean a criminal record, but they have to have someone manually look at it. So that goes back to the county clerk. And the statute in the Firearms Act says that the county clerk, solely based on the report from the state police, shall issue the concealed pistol license or deny it. So we have, I lost count, but I believe it's 68 misdemeanor disqualifiers in the statute. That some are 3-year disqualifiers, the others are 8. Ironically, to be a peace officer in Michigan, there's only 3 misdemeanor disqualifiers in their statute. So there are situations where I can think of one chief of police off the top of my head, one county sheriff who would be criminally disqualified from obtaining a concealed pistol license. They don't need one, but if they were to get one just for the sake of getting one. But that's really because the statutes were written at different times with different state reps and the agenda was different. So this is part of policy making, right? You get sets of statutes that you look at, and when you cross-reference them, you're just sitting there thinking, like, how the heck did this even happen? It doesn't make sense. But basically, the average person goes in, they apply to the county clerk, you take the class, they roll your fingerprints, or you can go to a vendor, there's third-party vendors, and you do the live scan. And they're pretty quick. Now, the Michigan State Police do a very good job at processing the licenses. They are pretty quick about getting that background check back, and then the county clerk just mails it to you. And then to renew the license, it's a 5-year license. You can either go back to your county clerk, or the state police have an online system, or you can even fill out the application and mail it to the state police, and then they'll forward it to the county clerk, and they'll mail you the license. But things happen, people get busy, you might forget to renew your license. So that's one of the things that we've been working on. The other thing we've been working on is CPL fees. We have a beautiful chart which has to be updated because a lot of states have changed, and we have some people in our group that are very talented when it comes to spreadsheets and graphs and doing all that. We are one of the most expensive licensing states in the country. We compared it to all the U.S. states, all the territories, D.C., everything. And off the top of my head, the only states, and we prorate it per year. So, like, say if you had a $100 license, $100 license for a five-year permit, it's $20 a year. So we have it all set out so state reps could just look at it and see. California is more expensive than us. There's a couple out there, but we're definitely in the top 5, and we're one of the only states where it costs more to renew a license than it does to get it for the first time.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting because in California, I believe they want to. I don't remember if they increased it. I don't know if they actually passed. I don't remember if it actually passed, but they were looking to increase it from $100. But they also wanted to put it on. They also wanted to have an annual increase. It's just. And once again, they're saying it's not expensive enough in the state of California. And by the way, California also has a training requirement, which is several $100s on top of it. So yeah, no, it's pretty expensive. And by the way, that's every 2 years.
Right. Yeah. I would prefer the system that we had if we had to choose. Right. Our system over what you are unfortunately dealing with currently. Right. Mm-hmm. But we are one of the most expensive states on the licensing fee, and the state police are supposed to put a report out every year where they break down the fee structure. Michigan Open Carry has had FOIA lawsuits where we've gotten some of the information, not all of it. They are profiting millions and millions of dollars off of this fee, yet they wouldn't come out and openly say it. They break it down to where they zero out, that they take just as much as they need to. But that's not true, because even going off of their numbers, they're counting everything from the salaries of the people who work in the firearms unit. They're counting everything. I mean, they're probably even counting the chair and the coffee pot, in their office. And the county clerks get some of that money too. So roughly on a renewal, the county clerk, I believe they get about $26 per license. And there's 83 counties in the state, so the county clerks are all over the map. Some counties say it only cost us $5 to issue a license. We've had some that say it costs $40 and they're losing money. But I tend to believe that they're making a lot of money, and I will tell you why. There's one county in the state, well, for the county clerks, that money that they get by statute can only be used for processing. See, it can't be used for their general fund or any of that. There's one county where they had so much money and they couldn't do anything with it. Like, they gave them raises, they did all this stuff, but they didn't know what else to do. So they built some fancy overhang for where you apply to the county clerk, because they're like, we don't know what else we can do with this money, right? Now, the state police is fungible as far as the money goes, so they can move it around. But look, if Pennsylvania can issue a license for $20 and they make money, right? A lot of states can issue licenses for a very low cost. Why are we charging so much? So we've tried to get a bill through that would do that, but the governor doesn't want to see the fees decrease because more people would be able to afford a license then.
Well, and there you go. And that's what it is. The problem is that they want people to be able to afford to get a license. Tell folks how they can find out more about Michigan Open Carry.
MichiganOpenCarry.org, and feel free to reach out to us, drop us a line, and we'll be happy to hear people's problems or fill them in on what's going on. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Folks out there in Michigan, let me tell you, you should be very, very happy to have this man on your side. He is a treasure trove of information and knowledge about not just the Second Amendment, but about a bunch of stuff, as we learned over some spirits last evening. But
thank you for the kind words.
Very, very good man, and he's doing the work for you. Him and the folks over at Michigan Open Carry. Jared, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Greg.
All righty. All right, folks. Hey, another one done, and more coming. Stay tuned in as we bring you more interviews with some cool folk here at the Gun Rights Policy Conference 2022. We'll see you again real soon.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.